Welcome to the show, Wave On. I'm your host, Misty, here in the house, your paddleboard guide, and I love to talk paddleboarding. And the show, Wave On, inspirational stories behind the boards, on the water sometimes, with other entrepreneurs. You can expect an interview here or there, or you get me talking about the season, which unfortunately is wrapping up here in late September. What a great season. Weather, a little iffy, but everything else, amazing. The community, the contacts and connection with each other and nature, awesome. But I have to say that even over the last couple weeks, still teaching newbies and getting people out for the witch paddle, lots of interest for that. And that was also a great event. So a round of applause for everyone pulling it together, decorating, having fun, just setting fears aside, which I want to talk a little more about that. And it's very hard for me to remember back to my first days of being on a paddleboard, and whether I was fearful or not is hard to describe. I don't remember being super fearful of falling off, but I do know when it caught me off guard. So I'll tell that story because when you think you've got it and you've been doing it for a little bit and it catches you off guard. So I can remember literally just standing, and I don't know how long I had been paddling or if this was in the beginning of a season in springtime or whatnot, but I remember standing there thinking, I'm just talking to somebody. I've got this. I'm and I literally fell in, like out of nowhere. It just came out of nowhere. And I know it's happened to other people. It catches you off guard. I mean, one of my funny stories, going back to a witch paddle, and I think that sometimes with fear, there can be a lot of different reasons why. One of them, I do believe, is just looking silly, like completely looking silly. And there's something about paddleboarding. I think that it just sets everybody to ground zero each time you get on that paddleboard, including myself. I'm not sure what's going to happen or what to expect. But last year I was invited to this witch paddle party, and I only knew maybe one or two people there. And, I have my nice hat, and it's a little bit of breeze. It's actually starting to get cooler out now, and that's concerning. You're dressed up like a witch with a cape and a hat. Anyway, toward the end, kind of made a loop around the lake, wind shifted in a different part of the lake. That can happen, and blew my hat off. No, I can't lose this hat. I didn't have it strapped underneath my chin, of course. And I literally jumped/fell in because I was trying to get it and save it. And I've seen witch hats go down pretty quickly, actually. Once they fill in the cavity of the cone part of the hat, it starts to sink. And I did not want to lose this hat. So the wind is blowing me a little bit, my board. I'm trying to use my paddle. I know that's not working. I literally flashed, and now I'm in the water completely, head to toe in the water, cape and all. I saved the hat. And I thought, oh man, I'm going to look ridiculous. Or these people probably think, oh, here she shows up with her fancy van and she teaches paddleboarding. Like, what? And they did not think any of those things. Jumped to the chase on that one. But I was soaking wet and I needed to get that cape off. Talk about falling in with something like that, not even your swimsuit in the summer. And it's weighing me down. I pull it off, get it on the board. And of course, they did not laugh at me. Like I said, it was kind of like I needed to jump in to get it. So, push come to shove, I'm in the water because I got to grab this hat before it sinks. Anyway, I was teaching this, a newbie a couple weeks back. So it's funny how, like, you think in the beginning of the season you're going to teach newbies right in the beginning, and that just doesn't happen. It actually flows all summer into almost early fall. And we were discussing fear and falling, and that paddleboarding literally is for everyone. You just have to be open-minded and show up and learn, give yourself some grace on learning, and of course, falling, because it may happen a few times. So we're on the water, and I left my GoPro running, which is an awesome way to take pictures, by the way, with a GoPro instead of your phone. And I record what I'm saying, and I, flash to her. She's literally in the sunset. You can't even really tell who this person is. That's another thing as well, is that filming with a GoPro, it's wide angle. It's capturing a lot. It's not really capturing up close detail or zooming in like a phone. And you're in the sunset, so you're a complete silhouette. You can't even tell who this person is, really. And anyway, she's falling a few times while I'm describing. Someone's asking me some questions about pressure and falling. And I said, I think a lot of times the fear can be about looking silly, or that your falling is failing, which is completely untrue. And paddleboarding, naturally, people are very supportive of one another, and especially the community that I've tried and put effort into for the past 8 seasons. That's all I allow for is support, applause, encouragement, all of those positive things, because we already go through so much during the day before we come to a sunset class or just life in general. So the fear of failing shows up everywhere in business and life, all these things. But with paddleboarding, you should just be able to give yourself this open-minded context that, I'm going to have a lot of fun and I'm going to show up. I may be sore tomorrow, but hey, I worked some muscles. I'm using my body. I'm being active in nature, and allowing yourself to put down the phone, turn off the notifications, or don't even acknowledge it because you left it on land, and just embrace yourself with who you're around. I think there's a lot to be said that's truly positive, but I know a lot of people have to just see it to understand it. So I think that one of the things that I've been learning is trying to show more behind the scenes. I mean, paddleboarding out on the lake is very transparent. I mean, I'm there, I'm teaching, people are walking by, they see the boards, they see us, but that's the lake community. What about other people that don't get to see this? They don't even know what a paddleboard looks like. And I have learned so much this season, 8 seasons. And I'm not saying it's brand new to me. It's not, but it's funny how you relearn things. I relearn when people come out and describe something a little differently or use a different analogy to help somebody else. And I give all the gold stars for people who have done it maybe 5 times this season, and they're like, oh, I so remember my first day out in June, and this is what happened to me. And they're able to share their story. And hopefully this is helping this person feel a little more comfortable. And I know there's a lot of guards that have to be let down, trust to walk into spaces like this. But when I say that this community is amazing on those aspects, I can't express it anymore. Just even about less than a month ago, same thing. 2 particular paddlers. I don't like naming names on the show. I just leave it like, you got to trust me on this, okay? I've got a good group of people, and some that are still learning, some that have been doing it for years. And so the one has been coming out over the season of this year. She started late last year, and she really wanted to learn. And it's, yes, there's a lot of like anxiety, and then why am I so shaky tonight? And, that's even a completely different topic. But another fellow paddleboarder in our community just talks to her and on the water and gives her some tips. And here's what happened to me when my feet started to hurt, or something like that. I mean, I think that is amazing as far as Luna Moon goes. And I'm not trying to, tout here a little bit, but I do acknowledge that. And I think that's amazing. I am posting the behind the scenes reel of me teaching the silhouette and the sunset paddler who is falling, and I give her, some tips. And so, to me, I live closely to this. So I hope that other people seeing it get a bit of an encouragement behind just showing just showing the atmosphere, the environment of me teaching her. Of course, like I said, anybody walking by can witness this because it's very transparent. We're not in a room, we're not in a studio. I also think that I definitely encourage the friend zone. Here's another little story. I go to a witch paddle up north. I've been following the Petoskey Sup ladies. I don't really know who they are personally, but I decided to take a little Monday sabbatical and meet a friend who's up there. And so it was kind of a two-part story. And we both go to this witch paddle. Now we've been fighting a little bit of rain on and off. And, for me to show up with the Petoskey ladies, I'm sure I could have done it. It would have been just fine. I've done this many times in my life, not needing a friend, just showing up. And having the friend was actually, when I look back at it, having the friend by my side was actually a little more comforting. I didn't know anybody there, and I'm totally willing to meet new people. But I will say it was just there was a little bit of safety that I can definitely say for other people, other clients, people that want to learn, and they bring a friend. I think it makes it a little more enjoyable for them. I would say don't let that hold you back, though. If the friend is going to bail or cancel on you many times and holding you back from your learning, from your growth and working through things and trying something new, because you might meet new friends. And I witnessed that every single year. I witnessed it this year with a few of them, and then they become friends on social media and they like sharing the photos, or maybe now they talked about something on the water and they're ready to meet up for lunch next week because they had another friend in common or a topic or something. And how cool is that to show up somewhere and then gain more value other than you trying something new? And I would love to publicize that more and more and more, because it's true. It's absolutely 100%, 1,000% true. So my story back to my witch paddle group. So then we go out for dinner afterwards. We got a quick little paddle in, and we go to dinner, and I'm with my friend, and we meet two other ladies. So it's the four of us at one table, and so much in common. Age did not matter. That was awesome as well. Setting those barriers aside and just talking. Like, you already have paddleboarding in common. You already have, some sort of nature loving in common. And anyway, we're collaborating actually back and forth, which is some more behind the scenes of Always with Luna Moon, is loving to collaborate with others, trying places for retreats, paddle destinations, those types of things, always trying to build the brand. And we, have a great evening, just chatting, becoming friends on social media, finding out we have another mutual friend in our area. And how cool is that? And walk away making some more friends. And we just felt like it was meant to be. And that's it. I didn't have to overthink it. I didn't have to have this high expectation. And I'm really glad I got to go. And this quick little witch paddle that we did was actually waiting out a rainstorm. And thank God we did. That was awesome. It was a beautiful sky, amazing shoreline, and just backdrop, Lake Charlevoix. I would like to say I've paddled Lake Michigan this year, but technically I did not. But Lake Charlevoix at least connects to Lake Michigan. And to the side of my board jumps a giant salmon. And I'm like, right, the salmon are running and they're active. They're spawning, and wow, that was amazing. It was huge. It made a big splash. It made me wonder how many more were down there actually. And, and earlier that day when I met up with my friend, we went for a paddle. As soon as I got there, I drove 3.5 hours north, and with mystery van, of course, and the paddle boards, and we got caught in rain. Oh man, we were having just an amazing time. She was showing me the lake, and we were talking about, the area, and I see this little baby turtle trying to swim below my board, and it's clear water. It's beautiful. And this rain started to come, and if you looked over your shoulder, I could see it coming across the lake. And like, oh boy, It's going to pick up. It's going to pick up. We better get back. But at this point, I mean, we're soaking wet. Wind picks up just a little bit. It wasn't too wavy, which was surprising, but definitely a downpour rain, drenching wet. So that was fun. And that usually happens to me at least once or twice in a season. It did kind of happen to me at the pod this summer teaching. And I always say that usually happens too. Some rain cloud comes through and we're in between sunshine. It's just crazy how that happens. And I just have to kind of prepare myself. But, so much gratitude for the season. And I believe I've said this in a couple episodes already, but just the acknowledgement of even Luna's passing and the paddle out that we did and just the amazing amount of support. And I'm just very I have so much gratitude for our community and for what they represent and who they are. And I'd have to say that, my next goal is, of course, to keep paddling into November, which is my birthday month. And I'd like to highlight some cold water gear that you could have if you want to extend your season a little bit and you don't mind being out when it's still, but the water is starting to cool down. I would say the other day when I was caught in the rain and the air felt cooler than the water then. So you have those differences around this time of the year. NRS has a great plethora of cold water gear. If you go to their site, you'll find amazing stuff. I highly recommend the brand. I've had plenty of kayak gear through them as well. My latest thing that I had just bought were boots. So they're not they're more like a paddleboard boot, actually. They're not a surfer boot for like a wetsuit, but they still have the same sort of material, but a nice rubber grip and then a Velcro band across the top of my foot. I might post some videos on that as well. And then a dry suit, or like I said, NRS has a ton of options. So you might have to just shop around and see how you feel about what you exactly want. If it's gloves or socks, waterproof socks, boots. I have the waterproof sock that fit inside of my waterproof boot, which worked amazing back in April during those colder days, but ready to get on the water, that kind of thing. I like the dry suit because I can layer underneath and I don't get cold if I don't plan on getting in. But if I was to fall in, then I'm sealed around my neck and my wrist, and then my feet are covered. And obviously I'd have my boots on over that. And I know I've posted before about maybe what to carry with you just in case, especially if you want to keep going the colder it gets. That's completely up to you. I would keep an emergency blanket, which are those tinfoil looking blanket things, just to have on hand if you absolutely needed it to keep yourself warm when you get back to shore. And that might depend on what you're wearing. If you already have a dry suit on, you're not going to really need that. But if you're wearing some other types of layers of clothes that are semi-waterproof, if you're not ready to pull the trigger on spending some money on NRS gear, I completely get it. There was actually another great recommendation, and I'm going to provide some links in the show notes because I don't know much about this type of, it was more like a suit, like a full body suit. I don't know how cold you could actually wear that, or if that would be a nice layer underneath your dry suit maybe. There's a lot of options. You really have to just figure out what feels good for you and what's comfortable, and of course your budget. But I'm just throwing some things out there, and I'm still learning myself because stuff keeps coming out constantly, refresh. And I'm just recommending definitely NRS as their site to go and check it out. But this full body suit is more like an online purchase, and it might be great for even summer, because if it was to get cooler at night and you've already fallen in or that kind of thing, or maybe you just want to keep all your stuff together. You're not wearing a full bathing suit, and you don't have to wear a bathing suit technically to come paddleboarding. You could wear something more like quick dry and water resistant, or just something that's easy to dry. So like I said, I'll provide some links. And Definitely follow along on social media if you want to see some of these videos and things that I've been posting, or my YouTube channel. I'm trying to grow that channel. It is taking a while. It's consistency. It's length. Think about the length versus the instant gratification. But I've been putting videos up there, and quick ones, long ones, behind the scenes of Luna Moon, of our retreats, our trips, what those look like. And that should help if you have a friend that you've been wanting to get out on the water. And I've got one more thing to share about that as well. If you've got a friend that you have been wanting to get out on the water and they have no idea of anything, send them to my YouTube channel. And obviously I'm still building, so there's always going to be something different. It's not built and done. Definitely not. I always look for topics and even questions, feedback, and I can provide answers or tips and tricks. So I also include yoga in there too, because you got to have some kind of land strengthening and building, and that helps with your on the water experience. Now, if you have a friend, now here's one thing I've learned with a few people in our paddle community about teaching a friend. A friend has no idea what you're talking about, and you have now found the greatest gift ever of paddleboarding, and you want to share it. How awesome. And your friend, take them to the lake. Take them to a pond, somewhere, maybe even a non-motorized lake would be awesome. There's not many, but I do know of a few. Teeple Lake and Highland Park Rec and White Lake. Nice park, nice drive back. Go back there to Teeple Lake. There's areas that you could go along the beach and not be in the swim area, and put your board in and let her or him, whoever you've brought out, let them see the board, let them sit on it, let them touch it, feel it. Let them watch you get up and stand. You know, I've put a lot of skill and knowledge into the people that come back all the time. The heavy core followers, I've put a lot of stuff in them. Share it. Please share it with your friend, your family member, and get them to love paddleboarding. You've got the bug. Now you give the bug to them. That way we have more people. And then we have, more people coming on trips and things like that. And it's not even all about that. It's great for your body and your mind. The water is an amazing element that things can just wash away or float away. The stress of the day, trauma that you're holding back. You just got to let the fear go and start trusting. Trusting your space, trusting others, that this is a non-judgment zone. I should probably be saying more of this in my marketing. Guaranteed, my website is going through some changes as we speak. And it's a non-judgment zone. And like I said, how many times people are encouraging you? They're giving you support. We're all trying to give you support. We don't want it to be a bold and harsh and rigid environment. This is very fun, fluid. It's a way to let go of stress. So again, I do applaud the ones that do that type of work by introducing their friends, their group of friends, bringing them out, letting them see your own board. That's amazing, and I have a lot of gratitude for that. It's just some community shout outs here, the starlets of Luna Moon who step up and take some action. I love that. So I am working behind the scenes for retreat of 2026. We had a board meeting last week when the water was dead flat and it was amazing and 75 degrees, sunny. We had a couple board meetings actually. How fun. I've got people who, so you think that I don't write my notes on the paddleboard? I do. When a official board meeting is happening and research is being done, I write down everything. I write down every piece. We did even for the anniversary party of Luna Moon. And I'm fortunate that people just want to do a potluck paddle and acknowledge Luna Moon and the anniversary, which is the 8th season. And then what do we want to change for next year for the 9th one, possibly even going into the 10th, which we are ahead of the game, which Trust me. In season 1 and 2, we were nowhere. We were just trying to get the word out about what does SUP stand for. So we've advanced quite a bit here. And just winter gatherings. And also I'm doing some research on 3 different things that I would like to offer during the off season, whether it's in person and online. Not sure yet, but this goes back to my Monday night conversation and the collaboration, possible collaboration there on breath work, which is much deeper than just saying breath. Okay. I teach breath and yoga. This is a little different. This is more in depth. And then some other things that actually from the Starlets have given me some things to think about. And as far as strength for your off season and movement. So I'm looking into that. Stay tuned. Again, follow along on social media. I'll keep plugging. Yeah, so how awesome. We already had a board meeting. We're already talking about events. So 2026, there are some new destinational paddles that will probably pop up again, just in the research stages right now. But it goes back to the goal of doing all 3 lakes. The 3 that we officially can get to, and I don't know as if we want to try Lake Erie anyways. Here we go. Lake Superior, the Big Bay Retreat. The past 2 years we've been able to do it. I don't have any guarantees. No guarantees. Because that water can change or it can be ugly for us when we're during the week of the retreat. But we did it the past 2 years. We did Sunrise this year, which was epic and amazing. I had my coffee on board, my eye rocker, and my float sup cup. Beautiful. Okay. Number 2 was Lake Huron, and that was the Turnip Rock Port Austin trip. We didn't make it to the Rock, so guess what? We'll put it back on the calendar next year. We'll go to the Cheeseburger Fest. We'll camp. We'll have fun, and hopefully we'll get to paddle it. We all become stronger paddlers every year, so we'll see. And we had wind at our back that was just going to push us out and then give us a hard time coming back. We would have been out there all day. And I don't think everybody was prepared for that. So we'll put that back on the calendar. And so that's 2 lakes. Gave me the idea, let's try to get Lake Michigan in this year. Hard goal. But like I said, doing the witch paddle, I felt like I at least got close enough. Close enough. Lake Charlevoix connects to Lake Michigan. It's the same water, they connect. So I'll leave it at that. But it gave us the goal for where we would want to try next year. I've got Empire on my mind. I've got Muskegon on my mind. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna throw that out there. I know there's some other things we want to do too. It is such a short season. So guess what? I got to do something in the wintertime. I'm working on it. All right. Florida. I'll just put it out there. I've already said save the dates anyways of March. That would be March 6th through the 8th at least. If you want to give yourself a little more time before and after, that's completely up to you. And I'm working on that. That's coming together. And it's going to be a huge jump for me to plan out-of-state retreat. I've already been to the place, paddled with the manatees, saw the water firsthand, and the area, which I felt was amazing. So stay tuned. Watch your email. Newsletter comes out at least 2 or 3 times a month with dates. What's coming up next in our foreseeable future? Pool dates. If you want to bring your friend who's been fearful all summer and watched all of your pictures and thought it was absolutely amazing, the pool is a great playground. And even if you did come out all season, I still welcome you to come to the pool. Maybe you're only a pool person. That's fine too. Totally fine with either or. You know, it's at least moving the body, having the connection with the board, and doing all the things. So pools October 5th and the 19th. They'll always be on Sundays, 11 a.m. to 12 in Milford High School. That's Milford, Michigan. And then, like I said, I'm working on some other little land things that I want to put together. Maybe it's special once a month. We'll just stay tuned for that as well. I will thank you again if you participated with the Witches Paddle here in Sylvan with the Coven on the lake. Awesome job by everyone. We had a best dressed costume decor, two of them. We picked 2, first and second. We also had Donations going to Harry Houdini's Siberian Husky Rescue. Again, in honor of Luna. Thank you again. We did a little raffle for that as well. So we also collected that. So we did great. We did a great job with that. That witch paddle is always a charity-based one. So this year it was just for honoring Luna, and we did Siberian Husky Rescue. And again, amazing jobs. Even if you didn't win, you showed up, you participated, you played, you laughed. So did everybody on the shoreline. Not at you. They laughed and enjoyed it. Just like on Monday night, we did the witch paddle in Boyne, the one that I went up to, and very small little loop around the restaurants. And then the restaurant that we went to, we were showing up, and they were like, the people that were there for dinner and came out and took pictures, and everyone was saying, the witches are here. And they loved it. We were showing up now for our dinner, and they're expressing how cool they thought it was, and to watch it with the skyline behind us and everything. So people get joy out of it, and I'm really glad. I'm glad about that, because it's that's what it's about. That's what it's about. Just have fun with it and have an open mind. And how many times a day or a week or in a month do you get to do certain things like that? So again, I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank you for subscribing. Check out the YouTube. I will put the show into the show notes, these links that I have talked about. And let's keep going. Let's keep building. Let's keep going, keep growing. And let's stay connected. Or the Luna Moon tagline is connection, explore, and experience. And I love that, because that to me is all about not just with nature, but with one another in a community, building a tribe that supports one another on and off the water.